Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're going to talk about the NYX City Eye, Lip, and Face Palettes. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about these. I have the shade Berlin. I am going to do swatches, and I'm also going to show you a tutorial. I used every shade that came in this palette, so stick around to the end of the video to see that. These lip, eye, and face collections retail for $15 US. There are some shades available at Ulta. NYX has 11 different collections on their website. Ulta I think only has 4 or 5 right now. Each collection is inspired by one of the soft matte lip creams. All of the soft matte lip creams are named after cities, so that's where these collections are getting their names. The packaging is a heavy duty cardboard and it does have a magnetic closure. Each palette contains 4 eyeshadow shades, a highlight, a blush, and then a little cutout where the soft matte lip cream goes. And these lip products are full size. Here are the eyeshadow shades. These are just some quick finger swatches. There are 2 matte shades and 2 shimmer shades. There's a pale champagne, a matte light mauve, a shimmery dark green, and then a matte dark brown. Here are the cheek and lip product swatches. The highlight is a pale shimmery pink. Then there's this bright corally blush. And this is the soft matte lip cream in Berlin. It's a really gorgeous brick meets brown shade. Okay, let's go to the tutorial now, and then I'll give you my review and all my thoughts at the end. I'm starting off with the blush from the palette, and I'm just using my little Eco Tools blush brush. It's my favorite blush brush, and putting that on my cheeks. I was very happy with the pigmentation of this blush. Now for some highlight, I used my Morphe tapered highlighting brush, and I did go back over this twice to build up the impact just a little bit. This is a very subtle highlighter, which I don't mind because I'm going to have a very intense eye look. I did use my finger to add a little bit of the highlight to my Cupid's bow. I really like the way this looks with a more subtle highlighter. Then I primed my eyes with my favorite primer. It's the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. And since there's no light matte shade in here, I used a little translucent setting powder over top to set that primer. Next, I'm going in with my transition shade. I used the light mauve color and I put that all through my crease and onto my lid a little bit too. This is a darker look, so I don't have to be super precise with my crease shade. Next, I'm adding a little depth to the outer corner of the eye. I used a very small detail crease brush and packed that all over the outer part of my lid. I did need to build this shade up to get it as dark as I liked, and I ended up using my finger to blend this shade just so that it's a nice smooth transition. Sometimes brushes just don't do the trick. Now I'm going to use the light shimmery champagne shade, and I packed that on with a flat brush, and I found that it wasn't as pigmented as I like, so I just sprayed the brush with a little Fix Plus once the shadow was already on there. Then I packed that dampened brush onto the lid, and that really upped the amp of that shimmer shade. Now I'm going to go work on my lower lash line, again going to that matte dark brown shade on a very flat brush and putting that really close to my lower lash line. Then going back with the matte mauve shade and blending that out for a nice smooth smoky look on the lower lash line. I would be really happy to leave this look as it is, but I feel like I have to add this dark shimmery emerald green. So I used my finger to pack that onto the lid, and I found that this was pretty difficult to blend out with a brush. I used a duo fiber brush with no additional product to try to blend the edges, and it really seemed to wipe away some of the product. So I'm building that crease shade back up in an attempt to smooth out the edges. I really just wasn't happy with it. I went back with more of the dark brown shadow, and it still didn't really seem to fill in the gaps. I just wasn't happy with the way that that green shadow blended. It looked very patchy and not that intense. So I added a little bit more of that green shade using my finger to try to smooth it out. Then of course I added the soft matte lip cream in the shade Berlin. I really like this formula. I think it's super comfortable. And this shade is just gorgeous. It's perfect for fall and winter. It's a nice dusty reddish brown, and I do think that this really completes the look, and it's one of my favorite parts of this set. Even though I didn't love the green shadow, I'm still happy with how my look turned out, and I'm glad that I tried something different and stepped out of my neutral box just a little bit. There are a few things I like and a few things I don't like about this collection. First of all, with the packaging, I do think that it's a little bit bulky. I understand that it needs to be thick enough to hold the soft matte lip cream, but I do think there's a lot of dead space in here. I wish that they had either brought in the sides a little bit more or maybe expanded these pans and made them just a little bit bigger. Just seeing all this dead space around the palette just makes me think that this palette could have been streamlined just a little bit more. However, I do think that the cover art is cool. I really like the mirror. This is a nice big mirror. It's definitely usable if you are gonna travel with this. You could see your whole face. When it comes to the products inside, first of all, I know that the soft matte lip creams, it's one of those products that people either love it or they hate it. I really love the soft matte lip creams. I think they're comfortable. I think they're long wearing. They look great. I love that there's a huge shade range, and I really do like this shade. One of the reasons I chose to purchase this palette was because I didn't have this shade and I thought it looked good, and I do really like this one. I'm also really impressed with the two face products in here. Both the blush and the highlighter performed really well for me, and I do think that these shades are flattering on my skin tone. The blush had a great pigmentation. The highlighter's a little bit more subtle, but I actually like a more subtle highlighter sometimes. So I do think these two cheek products worked well together, and they worked well for me. As far as the eyeshadows go, I did like the top two shades, the lighter shades, better than the bottom two. I thought that the pigmentation was okay for these two darker shades, but they just weren't as blendable as I had hoped. I had a much easier time working with these two top shades than I did with the bottom two. They just didn't want to blend, and as I worked with them, they seemed to kind of muddy up on the eye. I think if I was going to purchase another one of these collections, I would go with something that had more light and medium shades instead of the deeper ones. I think I ended up getting a decent eye look out of them. They just weren't as easy to work with as I had hoped. When I swatched them, they seemed really soft, really pigmented. They just weren't really that blendable. All in all, for $15, I'm not mad at it. I really liked more than half of this collection, so I do think that I got my money's worth. I would try another one. I would just veer away from the deeper shades. I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about these. I don't know why. I think it's a cool concept. NYX puts out a ton of products, so it is sometimes hard to keep up with them. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on these collections. Have you tried them? Which city did you try? Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. The soft matte lip cream included. That made no sense. What? How do you even say that? I can't talk today. I just keep staring at my eyeshadow like it's just not as blended as I want it to be. Are you impressed that I did a dark color though? Green eyeshadow. Go zero break. Can you see right here where it's just like not blended? It just wouldn't blend no matter what I would do. This eye looks a little bit better, but still, it's just wherever I touch that green shadow, like I could not blend out the edge. And look, where I used the matte shades on the bottom, like it's way better blending down there. I don't know. I used the same eye primer that I always use. I use the same brushes that I always use, so I don't know. It's time to go. Bye.